Hey there everyone, Aaron Salsbury here at 3xLOGIC. Today I'm going to be walking you through a feature that is absolutely paramount that you do this for each individual camera that is connected back to your NVR or DVR recording appliance. And that is how to set up motion-based recording in terms of how sensitive is the movement, also where it's looking for movement, and ultimately how the system is recording. So you're going to notice I've gone ahead and connected up to my server here off to the left. Under the right-click menu, you do have a server settings. Now keep in mind, this is an admin function. You do need to have admin permissions to do this, but this can be done both on the client remotely as well as on the DVR directly. And in this case, I'm going to come down to our Solution Center camera. Here's the camera. I've got a nice little preview window here off to the right, but more importantly, right here in the middle, I've got my recording mode. If I use this drop down, you can change this to whatever you want. In this case, we're going to be setting this up for motion, so I'm going to leave it set to motion. Post motion record down here is how long the system is going to continue to record that camera after the movement has stopped. So if you have someone walk behind a pillar, perhaps they're standing very still, looking down at their phone, whatever the case may be, maybe you want to change this to a higher value than the default of 3 seconds. Totally up to you. I'm going to leave mine defaulted at 3 seconds here. Now off to the right, you've got your motion settings. Now inside of here, I've gone ahead and done this already. This one obviously was set up to not record the monitors, but what yours will look like right out of the box, if I hit set all, you're going to notice the entire screen is green, meaning the entire screen is covered with trigger blocks. And in fact, I could even throw a couple of these up here just to kind of show you what these are. And I'm just clicking these on or off. If you hold down your mouse, you can even draw out specific regions if you want to, or go back in and fill them back in just simply with your mouse. If I put this into test motion, it's going to show me each one of those individual trigger blocks and how much movement it's seeing based off of a numeric representation here. Now you'll notice if I'm exceeding the threshold, those numbers will turn red. Okay, now keep in mind, this is a 1 frame per second preview. It's not what I'm actually recording. That's just how we have it set up in our preview window. If I take this out of test motion, the motion sensitivity bar down here, that's a direct correlation to those numbers you were just seeing on the screen. I can make it less sensitive or even more sensitive. Now, why in the world would I not want to turn this all the way down to 1? Well, I'll show you. If I have it set to 1 and I put it into test motion, you're going to notice it's picking up literally anything that's happening inside the screen here or in the camera's field of view. That's because we're getting things like flicker from lights, for instance, especially LED lighting. LED lighting actually turns on and off 60 times a second, but to the human eye it looks like continuous lighting, but the camera's sensitive enough to see this. So in this case, a setting of 1 is far too sensitive. I'm going to take this out of test motion, and I'm going to come down here and slide this slider over to, let's say, 46 or perhaps 27, whatever it is. You have to test this with something moving out there that you do want to record. It's the best practice for setting up these cameras individually. So now that I've got that set, I'm going to go ahead and throw this back into test motion. And sure enough, I can see we've got a person walking around. That's more than enough to start recording. But I've also got a couple of monitors in the field of view here. I don't want to record those monitors. Perhaps I've got trees blowing in the wind or a highway in the background. I don't want to record those. So in that case, I would take it out of test motion and I would actually just blank out those areas. I'm going to remove those green grids from the areas that can see those monitors, meaning I'm no longer going to be looking for those areas. But this table area I do, so I'm going to go ahead and just draw that back in here. I'll throw it back into test motion and take a look and see how much movement I'm getting from the system here. Sure enough, obviously that's more than enough to start recording. That's all it takes to set these up, but it has to be done based off of each individual camera because the field of view and what it's looking at is different based off of each camera that is tied into your system. So that looks pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and leave this. So I'm going to hit OK. Now, down here below, you're also going to see video motion alarm. I can actually turn this on and I can trigger an alarm if something happens in a specific area, the same way we start recording, only now it's going to report to me as an alarm. Well, in this case, I'm going to come up here and hit clear. I'll clear off the whole screen. And let's say, for instance, if someone comes over here and wants to mess around with this display that's on the ground here, or perhaps even comes over here and moves this particular chair, well, yes, now I want to trigger an alarm off of it. So I've got two restricted areas, let's call them, that are now set up as my video motion alarm. So I'll come down here and hit OK. Now I'll walk you through just another thing inside of here as well, and that's under the advanced settings for this video motion alarm. There's a lot we can do inside of here in terms of notifications and what happens when somebody walks into that restricted area or triggers a video motion alarm. For instance, if I only want to get an alarm during a specific time, I can enable the schedule, and wherever I put this green bar, that's the only time I'm going to get an alarm from this particular camera. And this is granular. It is granular to each individual camera. You can have some doing it during certain times of the day and other cameras perhaps after hours, whatever it is that you like to do. But it is nice to be able to do this. If you did decide that this is what you want for all of your cameras, obviously you can click the schedule to all cameras here, and it's going to apply it to all of them. So I'll go ahead and click OK off of that one. You've also got a few things inside of here as well. Another post-motion recording. I can say, hey, I want this thing to record for perhaps 11 seconds after this particular movement stops from that restricted area, from that motion alarm region. And I can even tell it to record additional cameras when that camera sees that motion alarm happen. So it's really nice to be able to do this. Now, under the notifications tab, you do have a few other outputs here as well. Monitor output, this is when we used to have a lot of monitors connected directly to DVRs, and for the most part, we really don't use this anymore. But you do have the option for doing audio notification. Now, a system beep is nothing more than when your computer is just going to beep at you, or you can have it play a particular WAV file. Perhaps, welcome, we appreciate you coming in, or you are entering into a restricted area. You can either record these, find a pre-recorded one, and obviously to load it, you just hit the browse button here. It'll look out to your computer, pick and choose whichever one it is that you want. The auto acknowledgement is for the alarm screen. When they initially show up on the alarm screen, they're going to be red. If I tell it to auto-acknowledge after 10 seconds, they will auto-acknowledge and go to a yellow status. But if I have a guard that is watching this and I want them to go through each one of these manually, well, we would want to be able to differentiate these between red and yellow, one that I haven't looked at being red, one that I have looked at being yellow. I would want to turn the auto-acknowledgement off. The email notification, that of course is pretty straightforward in here. If you come in and say, hey, I want to attach a still shot or even a pre-alarm video, you can do that. Only caution here is if you select a very long duration and your email cannot handle that size of a file, well, obviously your email system would reject it. So I usually tell folks it's usually best to leave that turned off. Send them a picture of it, then that way they can either get on their client or go into the cell phone application to watch the video directly. And of course, coming down here, you're going to want to add their email addresses. But guys, I wanted to just cover some of this basic stuff that we have inside of here. Again, motion-based recording does need to be calibrated on each individual camera, and just give you a quick tutorial on how to do so. But guys, if you enjoy these videos and you want us to do more tech videos like this, please give us a like, a follow, a comment, something, either thumbs up or thumbs down. We'd just love the input from you guys. But thanks for watching today, guys. We'll see you on the next video.